Well, if you live in Riverside County, San Bernardino County, Orange County, you can go to the mall and shop with restrictions. But at least you can go to the mall. You can get a haircut, go to a beauty salon, and a few other things not as restrictive. But if you live in LA County, no such luck, no dice. Hi, everybody, and welcome to our third edition of the post-career of Dave Lopez, post-retirement, I should say. I hope you're enjoying these. I'm enjoying doing them. It keeps me occupied somewhat, although, believe me, I'm far from being bored, but I just felt that I have something to offer about my perspective and what have you, so that's why we're doing this, and I appreciate the kind remarks and the reception we've had, the response, so please let your friends know. We're going to do this every Monday. So we gave you the quick headlines. So when is LA County going to get out of the certain color they're in? And I'm not going to try to explain that. The governor did that last week and confused you enough. So let me just kind of cut to the chase and tell you exactly what it means. LA is still on a very restrictive list. Exactly almost what we were back to square one when they tried to reopen on Memorial Day weekend and admitted that they went too fast. I mean, some have openly said that they just went too fast. Others are being a little more careful in how they say it. But we still can't get a haircut, still can't dine in, can't go to the malls yet, and don't expect that to happen anytime soon. Now, tomorrow, the Board of Supervisors will hold a meeting with some health officials, and they'll discuss if there's any way that they can possibly ease some of these restrictions. That's what Catherine Barger said today. So look for that tomorrow. As of now, the restrictions are there. Although the numbers are getting better, although not exactly where they need to be. Now, LA County is in Tier 1, which means that they'll be in that tier for the next 3 weeks. So those tight restrictions will stay. So Memorial Day weekend, stay with your household. Don't go have a big family picnic somewhere. Don't go to the beach and have 25, 30 people around you that you haven't seen for a while. The temptation is great, but just don't do it. Let's go briefly with some of the numbers. And again, I keep emphasizing to you, and I think I did this as I was a reporter covering this story, the real key number, what has really improved and what's really gone down, the number of hospitalizations. On July 18th, to be specific, there were 2,232 people hospitalized with COVID in Los Angeles County, and panic set in. I mean, that was a number that was dangerously high. Today, the number of people hospitalized, 1,043. So you do the math. You've gone from 2,232 to 1,043 in 5 weeks. We're heading in the right direction. Positivity rate over the last couple of weeks, now it was hovering around 9 to 10. Now that's down to 5. Overall, it's still at 10, but remember, we've tested 2.4 million people. So for those of you who want to know, when are you going to be able to go to the mall again? When are you going to get a haircut at a barber? When can you go into the beauty salon? And when can you go back to church? Not going to be anytime soon. Unless the board waves a little bit tomorrow, which I don't really think they're going to, but they're going to at least discuss some things. But the numbers are going in the right direction. Things are looking better, but the county, believe me, is going to go very, very slow on this. They learned a lesson back right after the Memorial Day, and again, you got to throw in all the elements that happened, and they don't want to do that again. They certainly do not want to have to put the brakes and go through what they went through before. So things are getting better. Just be a little more patient, if you will. Again, the numbers are trending properly. There was a very interesting article in the LA Times, and I want to go over that today because the scientific proof is there. I mean, you wear your mask, you're going to cut down on the spread, you're going to cut down the infection, and it's very, very simple. The LA Times did a real impressive survey that I thought. They went to 3 main parts of Southern California, and they looked at people, observed, and talked to a few, over 3,000. And very quickly what they found was that 42% of the people are wearing a mask, but 10% of those people wear it the wrong way. And 47% of the people that they observed were not wearing a mask at all. So almost half. They boiled it down to male and female. 50% of the women they saw were wearing a mask. 37% of the men were not. So just something interesting. Again, I know it's such a real pain and a real bother, but it believe me, it's just it's too important. Wear the mask. If we're going to get out of this anytime soon, now start doing the math on your calendar here. We're going to be in Tier 1 for 3 weeks. So that takes you almost through September. Then if you get it to the next group, then you got to be in the next group for another 3 weeks. So that takes you into October. That's Halloween. And then not far behind is Thanksgiving. So what kind of Thanksgiving are we going to have? We'll talk more about that as we get closer there. But right now, it's far from normal. But the main thing is we cannot let those numbers spike. So they won't spike if you wear the mask, and as hard as it is, but you just got to do it. I mean, you just cannot take the chances. The other thing that was very, very important that was brought up today, if you are in the so-called poverty level, the poorer you are, the more chance you have of getting COVID. Right now, it's 4 times greater if you are in the poverty level that you will get COVID as opposed to not being in the poverty level. So those are the key elements I wanted to hit. But again, don't be discouraged because the numbers are trending very, very well. They're trending good. So keep the mask on to see what LA County does tomorrow. I really don't think they're going to open up too much of the economy. Now, the other thing I wanted to mention today, today is a very significant anniversary. One of the major stories that happened in Southern California that I covered, it was August 31st, 1986. It affected so many lives, and that was the Cerritos air crash. Behind me is the monument for all those who lost their lives on that day. I'm going to include the story that I did for the 30th anniversary, so all the facts and figures will be in that account. It's about a 3.5 minute piece. Just a quick little side story that day. It was a Sunday, a sleepy Sunday. Memorial Day was the next day, so there was skeleton crews on all TV stations. I wasn't working that day, and I had promised my boy, who was 7 years old, that I'd take him to the park, and we'd play catch. And in those days, there was no cell phones. You just had your beeper. So I'm at the park in Downey, and we're playing catch, and my beeper goes off. And I said, no, come on. I promised my son, and it's Sunday, I don't want to work. Beeper goes off again. After about the 5th time the beeper went off, I had to make a phone call. So again, no cell phones. So I got on the 2-way radio in my car, and I said, please, you got to come to work. You got to come to work. And I go, oh, come on, this can't be that big. Yeah, it was big. But it was a day that I'll never forget, a very sleepy Sunday, just before noon. And it changed lives forever. It was just an unbelievable set of circumstances that happened that day. A lot of things have changed to make things safer. Hopefully an accident like that will never happen again. But for those who lost their loved ones, our deepest sorrow. The time does not take away the pain. It really doesn't. So here's the story, and we'll see you next week.
30 years ago, on a quiet, cloudless, picture-perfect afternoon in this Cerritos neighborhood, just before noon, disaster. A small single-engine plane, a Piper Archer, a family of 4 on board, out of Torrance, clipped the tail of an AeroMexico DC-9, Flight 498, as it was approaching LAX.
I mean, I can just remember the smell of jet fuel, the smell of death, body parts all over this place.
Did you believe what you were seeing?
I did not believe what I was seeing.
Part of the DC-9 in flames on Carmenita Avenue. A quarter-mile away, the Piper crashed into a playing field that was empty at an elementary school. On the ground, 15 people killed who lived on Riva, Holmes, and Ashworth streets. On the plains, 67 dead. Altogether, 82 people killed.
And almost passed out from the smell.
Current Supervisor Don Canabi was the mayor of Cerritos 30 years ago, August 31st, 1986. He had just left church.
All of a sudden, I realized my friend's house, gone.
Linda and Dennis McElwain lived in this house, destroyed. Dennis was with his sister. Their son Jeff, ironically, was with the mayor at church. Linda, the mother, decided to stay home that morning. She died instantly when the plane hit the house.
It's pretty much a blur.
Linda Tolman lived on Riva Street that day. Her house was not destroyed. I get the feeling people don't like to talk about it.
They don't. We don't.
For the most part, that's true. Many of the people have moved away. Gail Grossman stayed.
We were sitting in our kitchen, and all of a sudden it got dark.
And then she heard a sound that she said she'll never forget.
We think about it all the time. And we get on a plane and we hold each other's hand.
The pilot said everything was on course and he was going to be making a landing at 12:05.
But at exactly 11:56 came the collision, and the DC-9 fell straight to the ground. The stench, the fire, the chaos, it was such a horrific scene in this quiet neighborhood. It was Sunday, the Sunday before Labor Day, and people didn't know what to do. Those whose homes were not destroyed ran outside and were in such shock, such panic, many of them went right back in.
We found families hiding in their bedrooms or in their closets. Couldn't figure out why they're alive in their neighbors, because they take one step outside and they see this DC-9 and they see their neighbor's house, and it's, oh my God, what has happened?
The unbelievable occurred 30 years ago today. From Cerritos, Dave Lopez, CBS 2 News.